What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Hard-Headed episode 4.
We're back at it.
We're back at it. All right, so I'm going to host this week, change it up on y'all. So, but before we really get to everything we're going to get into, Bus has got a little announcement he wants to make.
Yeah, so like I said, episode 1, assistant coach over at Bethany Lutheran College for men's basketball. This past Friday, unfortunately, we finished our season. We lost in the semifinal of our conference tournament. So I just want to give a quick shout out to my guys, my players. Great season we had. It wasn't we obviously didn't go out the way we wanted to, but we still had a great season. And special shout out to the seniors, Jared, Jacob, Kyrie, Brian, and JT. You guys changed the program forever. So special shout out to you guys. And yeah, that's all I got to say. Rock on. BLC forever.
All right, let's get it. I'm going to tip this down a little bit so you can see us a little better. All right, so first off, what do you want to talk about again, Bus?
College basketball. Wow.
Just
what a
kidding.
weekend.
Yeah, it was crazy. Top 6 seeds all losing, huh? L's for your boys too. Let's start with your boys. I wanna see what you got to say about those.
Kentucky gets a pass this week.
Of course.
I do honestly I want to admit that the majority of these top 6 teams, I think, do get a pass. That's why the rankings didn't shake up a ton, just because of the fact that I have all the games written down here on my notes. There were 7 top 10, so 1 through 6 lost, and then as well as number 9 Texas Tech. All 7 of those top 10 teams that lost played on the road, so that's always tough, as you know. And out of those top 6 teams, 3 of them lost to ranked opponents, aka also Kentucky, my guys. So they lost to Arkansas on the road, tough place to play, and a team that had just beaten Auburn. So Arkansas is playing really well. I expect them to make a good run in the tournament. So I'm giving Kentucky a pass this week. We still have Severe Wheeler and Ty Washington. They're still limited with injuries, so they came off the bench that game, and they're normally starters. Severe leads our team in assists. Ty, solid freshman. So we definitely miss those guys. Want them back fully healthy. But yeah, I'm giving Kentucky a pass on this week.
That's fair. I mean, like you said, all the games were on the road. A lot of top 25 competition going on, but it's just crazy. I think it shows how the tournament's going to be. Well, at least I hope so. I always love give me the drama. Give me the upsets.
Give me the upsets.
Yeah, I think my squad's getting upset this year. Nova's probably going to be a 3 to 4 seed. Probably getting upset in the first, second round.
Nova's sitting at 10 or 11 right now, though. I feel like it's pretty high for your squad.
Yeah, I mean, they play well. I mean, the Big East is actually pretty deep this year, so they've had some losses they don't usually have, but they don't have a one score really. They don't have a guy in the tournament that scares you.
Speaking of the Big East, big matchup tonight. We got number 11 Villanova versus number 9 Providence. Big matchup tonight.
Yeah, Providence is taking that second L of the season too tonight.
That's a bold statement.
It is. Oh, come on, it's not that bold. Providence is overrated. We all know this. Nova's overrated too, but not as much as Providence. All right. So
what was your initial action, Spinny, to all 6 teams losing? What was your initial reaction? Were you just were you really surprised? Was it didn't really even come that much of a surprise to you? What do you think?
Oh, I was definitely surprised. I mean, for something that's I don't think ever happened before in the history of college basketball. That's got to be pretty surprising on that. There were some good games though too. I was just checking out I was just watching the games as they unfolded, some of them. But the Kentucky game was a 2-point game. The Michigan State Purdue game was a 3-point game. That came down to the wire. Purdue's my March Madness pick, I think. By the way, I think they got a good shot.
Gross.
Purdue's
getting bounced early for sure. Purdue's definitely getting bounced.
Playmaking, guards, defense, and rebounding. Welcome to the tournament.
They're getting bounced. No, yeah, you made a good point. Kentucky lost by 2 on the road against number 18 Arkansas. Kansas, Baylor. Kansas ended up winning Kansas lost by 10. Baylor won by 10, but still, that was a good game.
That was a 5-10 matchup.
Yeah, that was 5-10. So that was a great game too as well. Auburn lost to another ranked opponent, Tennessee, 17th. They were at that time. They lost by 5. So a lot of great games. I mean, I'm giving Auburn, Kansas, Kentucky passes since they lost to ranked opponents on the road. Same with Gonzaga. They lost to a ranked St. Mary's team who's actually really solid this year. Obviously, Gonzaga should win, and they got killed in that game. They lost by 10. They were getting killed the whole game. But
that game was way wider of a margin than the score showed.
I am giving them a slight pass, though.
I mean,
that's why they're still number one. They stay number one after that crazy week because they lost. Yeah. They lost on the road to a ranked team. That happens. It happens.
They also got lucky because of all the losses behind them, obviously. But it's hard for me with Gonzaga because you don't play many good teams, and then you're losing to the only teams in your conference that are good. So it's like
that's tough. Yeah,
that's tough. You know, I just think you got to prove more than that. You know, that's our shot against Gonzaga every year, right? Is that the West Coast Conference just blows, but
past years they've just walked through it. This year they've kind of struggled a little bit.
Yeah, so I mean, I think it's good. I think it shows. I mean, I definitely think Gonzaga has more flaws this year than last year. I think that, and I think that the deepness is. I think that the top 10 is way deeper this year also than last year. So I think it'll be tough for Gonzaga, but shout out to St. Mary's for getting the dub. Got to give them the credit too.
I'm gonna blast, especially Arizona. Arizona gets absolutely no pass. They lost to an unranked opponent. While they did lose on the road, it was an unranked opponent, Colorado, and they lost by 16. That is a terrible loss for Arizona. Again, it is a conference opponent, so obviously conference games, they're going to be tough, and especially on the road, like we've been saying. But still, to be the number 2 team in the nation and to just get your ass beat like that, that's just unacceptable to me. And as well, Purdue losing to Michigan State. There's a slight pass there just because obviously Michigan State, they're not good this year, but they have Tom Izzo as a coach. So when you have a coach like that, you're going to be able to win big games.
And they lost in Michigan State by 3. So like,
oh, for real? That's how close it was?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think you got to give Purdue a little bit of but Purdue's had some bad losses. That's the thing. The reason I'm big on Purdue is when they're on, they look like they could absolutely
look like a top team for sure.
But they definitely have had some bad losses at the same time. So
looking at these matchups here, obviously no one is really going to pick 1 through 6 to lose in a week. But like looking at the matchups, given that every team of these top 6 were on the road, I feel like that would have been a decent parlay to throw down. Honestly, obviously, I'm sure no one even did.
That'd be crazy if someone did.
That would be, in my eyes, it's honestly a pretty realistic parlay, just because of the fact that 4 of the teams that lost to ranked opponents on the road. So that's a good parlay to throw down. I did see that $100 thrown down on those 6 ranked teams losing would have won you like $50,000 or something like that. So yeah, that would have been absolutely insane. I'm pretty mad I didn't do that, but obviously did not see this coming. The rankings now, we got Gonzaga still number 1, Arizona still number 2, Baylor 3, Duke 4, Auburn 5, Kansas 6, Kentucky 7, Purdue 8, Providence 9, Wisconsin 10. Spinny, what do you think about the new rankings?
I think those are pretty good. I think it gave some credit to the week, but at the same time, didn't overplay it with all the teams losing. Yeah, I think it's good. Just got to shout out Nova for being 11th. Maybe they should be 10th.
I do have a slight, no matter how much
Wisconsin,
how much hate I give my friends. I have a bunch of Duke Blue Devil fans. I love to troll them. No matter how much hate I give them, I do think they should be 2. To be honest, I can't picture Arizona and Baylor being better than Duke. But like I said, I don't give a pass to Arizona at all. So I think they should have definitely fell behind Duke. I can definitely see Baylor because I obviously beat a ranked Kansas. So I can see that for sure. But Arizona, I don't know. That's a little sketchy to me. And then obviously still having Kansas in front of Kentucky, that's a huge problem for me as well, given the head-to-head matchup that they just destroyed them. So who do you think are the real top 4 teams? Like who are going to be the 1 seeds? And
who are going to be the 1 seeds, or who do I think the top 4 teams are?
Who do you think the top 4 teams are?
Top 4 teams are Duke, Kentucky, Purdue, And man, this might be recency bias, but I think I'm gonna say Baylor. I think that 4 spot is hard. I think Kansas could be in that spot. I think who else did I miss? Auburn. Yeah. Auburn could be in that spot
and
too.
Gonzaga.
Oof. I don't know. I like those top 3 teams the best. I think though, if I was gonna have to pick a team, it'd be Duke, Kentucky, or Purdue. And I know that's a cop out because we got the Blue Blood Nation. I guess Purdue's my only stretch there, but I don't know. I just trust those teams how they play in the tournament. I think Gonzaga's going to struggle with the guard play in the tournament. I think their guard play has been a little suspect at points in the season. Auburn could do it too because when Auburn's on, they're like ridiculous. But they've had some rough ones too, which is the same as Purdue. I just like Purdue's play better. Yeah, but those are my top 3, and I think the next 3 when you talk about or the next 3, 4, I think those are all right in there too. But
yeah, I agree with you. For the most part, I would say I would not include Purdue. I would say they're on those back 3. Like you said, I would have Duke, Kentucky, Gonzaga. I would still give Gonzaga a little bit, and then Baylor would be my top 4, and then I would also have Auburn and Purdue as other teams that could maybe make a run. I don't necessarily think those top 4 teams are the teams that are like for sure going to make runs or anything like that. I definitely can picture Duke choking just because of the close games they've had in the ACC and the fact that the ACC is not good this year. So they're going to get to a tournament and play better teams. And obviously just being Duke, everyone's out for your neck. So that's going to be tough for them. But I think Kentucky, honestly, super biased take here. But I do really think Kentucky has a legit chance to win it all this year. When they are completely healthy, they win games. They destroyed Kansas when they're completely healthy. These last couple losses, like I said, they haven't had Xavier or Ty. So when they're completely healthy, they are a tough team to beat, especially with Sheway down there grabbing 20 boards a night.
Yeah, Sheway's crazy. That guy's real cool to watch, real fun to watch. All right. I think we covered it, huh?
Yeah, I don't have any more comments.
Yeah, I'm just looking forward to it, I guess.
Yeah.
College basketball March Madness is one of my favorite times of year. So
yeah, if that stuff's already happening in the regular season, then I'm pretty excited about March Madness. I think it's going to be a great one this year.
Agreed. All right, so hope that was interesting enough for y'all. Now we got our next topic. I think we're gonna go now to our top 10 list.
Yeah. So
all right. So this is something that kind of streamed from our last NBA 75 draft, where I got to give credit. Bus had the receipts on me about the W he got on that one. But
thank you for voting for me, by the way. I clearly had the best starting 5.
We drafted really bad. No Magic on there. We missed some real good players. So it just kind of got us talking with everyone that was interacting with us and such. And so we thought we'd get a little list going for you. I think in these next couple weeks,
also ESPN created a top 10 stemming from those 75 players as well. So that also we had some issues with that list. So we wanted to throw our own top 10s out there as well.
Yeah, we might throw you a few more lists and things in the next upcoming weeks before the NBA playoffs, because as you all know, it's a little bit of a slow sports season right now. But hopefully, once the NBA playoffs and then the NFL and then things are going wild there for a while. But so yeah, we might bring you some fun lists. Shout us out, chat at us, tell us we're idiots, light us up, whatever you want. But here's our list. I'm going to let Bus go first.
I guess before we dive into this, we should have said this in the beginning of the episode. As you do notice, we have a slightly new format here. We're using a new platform to give you guys our content. We're off Zoom and we upgraded a little bit. So yeah, hopefully this looks a little more professional for you guys that are tuning in via YouTube. Obviously, those on Spotify and that podcast, there's no difference for you guys. But yeah, we're using a new platform and we hope this is better for you guys. But yeah, he was our top 10. Obviously, LeBron's the best player of all time. I don't understand why you got MJ number 1. We're not going to get into that because, as everyone knows listening to this podcast, that is a debate that will never end because anyone that chooses MJ is not going to give in. Anyone that chooses LeBron is not going to give in. It's just pretty simple from there. But I do like that we are in agreement on 3 through 5. I do like that there. That in my eyes, these are the top 5 players for sure. I do tend to change my rankings based on how I feel. So I made these rankings this morning. That's how I'm feeling right now at this moment. 3 through 5, or my top 5 is always the same, but sometimes my 3 through 5 switch up a little bit. But I'm going to give the slight nod to Kareem and Magic as opposed to Kobe. And then, yeah, I see looking at the rest of our list, we're pretty much in agreement. Just nitpick here and there. That's pretty much the only difference. We have essentially the same guys on our list, which is good in my opinion, because when I was creating my list, in my head, obviously trying to avoid bias, but I was thinking these are clearly the top players, right?
Yeah, I mean that's what I think too. I mean, we kind of both cheated. We got a top 11 going on,
right?
But I think we both wanted to include Kevin Durant in our list, and it's hard with Wilt and Bill because obviously they're some of the GOATs, but it was such a different age of basketball. It's always hard to like quantify what those guys are worth. But yeah, one thing I will say, I know people are gonna say a lot of the what I would call purists are gonna say we have Kobe higher than we should, which is understandable because I attribute this a lot to when you grew up. If you saw Michael Jordan play live, Kobe's probably going to be lower on your list. I think that they are essentially the same player. I mean, they both said it. They've talked about it, modeling, blah 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 blah. But when you see something a second time, and it's definitely maybe not quite as good, it's hard to really get that same sort of excitement. So I think the younger generation, us that we grew up with Kobe Bryant. Kobe Bryant was the best player in the league when I started watching basketball. So, or Tim, but one of those two is the best player in the league when I started watching basketball. So we'll always have a little bit of a bias, I think, that way. That needs to be pointed out.
There was a crazy stat about Kobe. I wish I remembered it off the top of my head. I should have saved it for this episode here. But in his 5 his 5 NBA championships, he like 80% of the games he faced, or 80% of the series he faced 50 win teams, which is like by far more than anyone else on this list, including LeBron and MJ. So that I feel like stuff like that, like Kobe's out here beating really good teams like by himself essentially, and then you add in the fact that he's a top 5 scorer of all time. He has an MVP. He's got 5 rings. I just don't get why ESPN, other purists, as you say, have him lower on the list. Again, I agree with what you're saying that the younger generation, us, and kind of our generation would definitely have Kobe higher. But I don't get how old heads can say he's not top 5, or like I wouldn't even accept anything lower than 6 in my eyes.
Well, here's the thing too, is that I think it's hard too because was Kobe the best player on his team in his first 3 championships?
True. That is a good debate. That is a good debate.
That's what's tough too. When you're with such a dominant, extremely, insanely cool guy like Shaq, it's hard to like. Kobe's a hard guy to overshadow, but I think in those days, especially Shaq's personality and dominance was probably overshadowing. And so I think
that's a good point.
I think that cuts some of his credit too for those people.
No, I agree. Shaq won, for those that didn't know, the first 3 rings that they won together. Shaq won Finals MVP every year, so that's a dock to Kobe, I suppose, because he only has 2 Finals MVP out of his 5 rings. So that is a dock. I know that plays into effect. In my eyes, I think Finals MVPs mean a lot because that like goes down to the specific player. So like LeBron, for example, like he's 4 for 4. He's 4 rings and 4 Finals MVPs. That just shows like he's been the best player every time that they win. MJ, similar situation. He's got Finals MVPs every time. So it's like it's clear that these guys are the best players. So when you don't win Finals MVP, it's going to haunt you in terms of rankings and things like this.
Steph Curry.
Steph Curry, that's a big one, I think. I do think the Warriors will win one more ring before Curry retires, but it's going to be tough. I don't know if he's going to win that Finals MVP, and that's definitely been a huge knock to him thus far. I do have one question for you, Spinny, based on your top 10 here. Why did you do, for your 10th, you did Will Chamberlain / KD, and you gave Bill Russell 9. Why didn't you do Will Chamberlain / Bill Russell? Why are you giving Bill Russell the slight edge over those two?
Number one, slight Boston bias. Number two, and the most, I would say 85% of the reason is 11 championships. Like at some, I understand it's a different era. We're not talking about, it was way easier than to win an NBA championship. I definitely understand that. At the same time, you cannot discredit 11 championships. You cannot discredit what he did as far as, and I know we don't necessarily take this into top 10 players, but his player coaching situation that was crazy, never been done before. And a lot of the he was an African-American man in Boston in the 50s and 60s. Like, that's not easy. Like, that was a way not a culture that was accepting of him, especially at the time, especially early on. So I give Bill Russell, I guess, credit when it comes to those type of things, as well as 11 championships. That's the main nod.
Yeah, that's completely fair. That's why I had to include him in here in my 11 player top 10. Yeah, I had to include him in there for those exact same reasons. 11 championships, regardless of the era, that's unheard of. Clearly, obviously, the most of all time. So you got to throw him in there. If we're talking about the most all time, then you got to go back to the start of the NBA. So you have to include every era. And yeah, and I also do think, I'm not saying that Bill and Wilt would be insane superstars or whatever in today's era, but they would 100% be all-stars and would be one of the best, if not some of the best centers in the league. I am confident in saying that. Will Chamberlain and Bill Russell were just freak athletics, essentially today's athletes playing in the 60s. So yeah, they deserve to be on the top 10 in my eyes, especially considering, obviously Wilt's career scoring average and rebounding average is just ridiculous.
Yeah, when you average 50 a game for a season, I mean, that's all
you deserve to be in the top 10. If you can score 50 a game for an entire season, you're a top 10 player of all time. That's an obvious statement in my eyes.
Okay, I got a question for you then.
Okay.
How would you respond? Because I know there's going to be these type of people that talk about us having Kevin Durant way too high.
This is tough. I knew this was going to come in. Kevin Durant. So for those tuning in on Spotify podcast, I got KD at 9. Spinny's got him with the 10-11 tie. I just think he's done things that we have never seen in the NBA. He's a 7-footer that is almost one of the best shooters of all time. So to do the stuff that he can do, I got to just put him in the top 10. It may be a little too early, but I'm foreshadowing a little bit. I think by the end of his career, he is no doubt a top 10 player, given his size and ability to score at literally every level. He can give it to you on the drive, post up, 3, whatever you want, he's scoring on you. So yeah, I just think he's a top 10 player in that regard. Maybe not, he's not the best defender, rebounder, playmaker. He's not any of those that we've seen, but he is definitely one of the best, if not the best scorer the NBA has ever seen.
Yeah, and I agree. That was my argument. And when we say best scorer, I don't necessarily mean
most versatile is kind of what
most versatile scorer. Yes. Yeah, like this man can get you a bucket from absolutely anywhere, and he's 7 foot tall.
7 foot tall.
Man, I understand the hate on him for the Warriors situation and all that, but this man also was like not out playing, but playing on the same level as LeBron James in the finals. And in the first finals, he looked better than him, and especially in come on.
He didn't look better than GOAT James.
Okay, he's biased, but KD had a lot of moments in the finals where you're like, holy beep, this guy is good. So
yeah,
and when you
yeah, criticize him all you want. I definitely have done my fair share of criticizing him for jumping ship to the Warriors, but I mean, unless you just didn't watch it or just refused to acknowledge this, he clearly carried the Warriors in those playoffs. Obviously, they still have amazing players: Steph Curry, Clay, Draymond, all those guys. So nothing against those guys, but KD was clearly the best player the entire postseason and in the NBA Finals for the Warriors. Hence why he won both Finals MVPs.
Agreed. That's our KD argument. What else we got? What else do you think people are going to roast us for here that we should defend?
I really don't think, like I said, it's tough. Obviously, this is my top 10, so I'm going to be biased in terms of arguments, but I just can't picture any other player in a top 10. If you don't have these guys in your top 10, it can be in any order.
Yeah.
But I just think these are for sure the top 10 guys.
And
I know we have 11, both of us have 11 guys, but 10 of these 11 guys should be in your list. If they're not, I don't know. I'm going to seriously question your basketball IQ.
Shout us out if you think we're missing anybody too. I considered Oscar Robertson for this.
Yep, so did I.
What other considerations did I have? Hakeem Olajuwon. I think he's in the top 15.
He's a borderline. Given the hate that we threw out for not winning Finals MVP earlier, I think Steph Curry's a top 20 NBA player too. So like, there are guys that you could throw in there, but
yeah,
I for sure think these are the top 10. Oh, I guess we probably should have started the segment out with this for those listening to Spotify podcasts that don't have the visual in front of them. My list in order goes LeBron, MJ, Kareem, Magic, Kobe, Larry Bird, Tim Duncan, Shaq, KD, and then my 10th is the tie between Wilt Chamberlain and Bill Russell.
All right, yeah, I suppose I should read it out. Sorry for y'all audio listeners. We got MJ, LeBron, Kareem, Magic, Kobe. Our top 5 is essentially the same. And we got Larry, Shaq, Duncan. I flipped Shaq and Duncan. I got Bill in the 9. Like I said, 11 championships. And then my 10th tie is KD and Wilt. I think they are crazy scoring regular season, like, what's the word I'm looking for? Things we've never seen. Types of scores that we've never seen before.
No, I agree. I guess my last question before we finish this topic here. What is KD's ceiling? So we got him in that 9-10 range now. How high do you think Kevin Durant? Because obviously the vast majority of these players are retired. LeBron's obviously 1 or 2 in every single person's eyes. So, and by the way, Skip Bayless is one of these people. If you don't have LeBron as 1 or 2, you actually don't know anything about basketball. Yeah. So please stop watching the NBA.
I honestly would agree, though.
Sorry to be mean about it, but like, if you don't have those 1 and 2, then you don't know anything about basketball. That's just a fact. But anyways, what is KD's ceiling?
Ooh, well, if this man can win a championship with Ben Simmons and Kyrie Irving as his next 2 best players, I mean, his ceiling is as high as he wants to make it. He's definitely got a top 3, top 5 ceiling.
You think he can get all the way to 3?
Yeah, I do. I mean, he'd need. How
many more accolades does he need to win? Does he need, like you did
he
mention
needs
the
2
ring?
more? He needs 2 more championships for top 3, 4. Because I think he can get to Magic or Kareem. I think he can pass Kobe for sure. I think he can get to 5 with 2 more championships.
Yeah, I actually agree with that statement. That may be a bold take to some, but I think if KD has 4 rings, especially if he goes 4 in Finals MVP, since he's already 2 for 2, I'm definitely putting him ahead of Kobe.
And I'm basing that off of him winning with this Nets team that he has right now. If you're winning with Kyrie as your second, what's Kyrie? 15th to 20th when he's playing full time, best players, maybe lower than that
in the NBA. You're saying?
Yeah.
Kyrie's the top.
He's a top 20 player.
20 player in the league.
Yeah, so it's different winning with the second best player being 15 to 20, as opposed to your second best player, Steph Curry, being like
Also
top
top
three.
10.
Yeah. So I mean that obviously makes a difference. And if he's beating Giannis, if he's beating Joel and James Harden, if he's beating teams in my like the East is stacked this year.
It really is.
It is like top to bottom, super even. And then we got those top teams at the top. If he's beating all those teams and then beating Phoenix or Golden State in the finals, then I don't think championships are the same. So I think KD gets a lot more credit winning this one than I think he gets as much credit if he wins one more in Brooklyn than for the 2 he won in Golden State.
I agree. Completely agree. I definitely think his ceiling is also that 3 to 5 range. Being a little realistic though, I think his peak is 4 or 5. That's what I'm giving him. 4 or 5. I don't think he'll ever pass Kareem, just because obviously Kareem, as it stands right now, obviously is not going to be, but as it stands right now, is the all-time leading scorer. Obviously, multiple rings, multiple MVPs. That's tough to beat. You got KD's going to have to play until almost 40 to beat Kareem in my eyes. But yeah, if he gets one more ring, I'm jumping him from 9 all the way to probably 6. And then if he wins 4 rings, he's in my top 5, no doubt about it.
See, the thing is, I think he has to almost win 2 rings to have any movement. Because
you think so? Yeah.
Because the next one ring above him, okay, Shaq has 4, Duncan has 5, Larry has 3.
But
he has 2.
Is that the only way we're going to separate these players? Just by a team award?
No. I agree. Like maybe he could win another MVP or 2. Like that would definitely make a difference. That's the other thing. Is like Larry won 3 straight MVPs. Only person ever to do that. Tim Duncan. He was more based on postseason success than ever regular season success anyway.
He still had 2 MVPs.
And he still has 2 MVPs. And I don't know how many MVPs Shaq has. Oof.
I don't know off the top of my head either.
I can't top of my head that, but
I could even be wrong about 10, but I swear it was 2 for Tim.
But Shaq has 4 championships and at least an MVP. So yeah, I mean, I just think that one championship might not move him anywhere. I think it takes 2 or 1 championship and an MVP or something. It's something like that. That's distinguishable difference.
Yeah, I would agree. I guess my last comment would be the Kobe Tim Duncan comparison, because that's been getting a lot of talk in these last 2 weeks since the All 75 team came out and these top 10 rankings came out. All that kind of stuff. There's been a lot of talk on social media I've seen about Kobe versus Tim, especially considering they were like essentially the same era. They essentially played the same time, same amount of years. So yeah, that's tough in my eyes. Just the eye test, I'm giving Kobe the slight edge. Accolade wise, Tim honestly does have Kobe beat though. So I definitely get the argument for why people would put Tim ahead of Kobe, but I'm gonna give Kobe the slight edge.
Yeah, I'm giving Kobe the slight edge over Tim, if nothing else, on his last 2 championships and how he won them. Pau Gasol is a great player, but as a 2 on a championship team, that's pretty impressive to win with those 2.
And their 3 was like Derek Fisher, pretty much.
Yeah, or Bynum, or Odom, or one of those basically above average role players.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'd give Kobe more credit due to that reason. I mean, I'd say Pop and Phil Jackson are basically the same as far as coach credit. The teams both have the credibility and system build up, but Tim played with Manu and Tony Parker and shooters everywhere and Bruce Bowen every year. And I mean, Tim had a lot more in his favor than Kobe did. Starting with David Robertson, he had the Admiral, literally another Hall of Famer, teaching him how to play. Kobe had to start his career playing with Shaq, with 2 guys that hated each other, basically, after the first couple of years of struggling with coaches and every other like crappy Lakers deal that they had at the time. So I give Kobe more credit for overcoming adversity and for picking up his teammates a little more than Tim. But we're splitting hairs.
Yeah, we are for sure. That's pretty much all the top 10 debate is just splitting hairs, nitpicking here and there because it's just so hard to truly come up with a top 10. As I said in the beginning of this segment, at least my top 3 through 5 changes all the time. I would even say 3 through 10 because I've definitely made a list with KD as high as 6 already today. So yeah, I change all the time. It's just so hard to choose who is truly better. But as I said like 5-10 minutes ago, if you don't have LeBron and MJ as your top 2, get out of here. Don't watch the NBA anymore because you don't know basketball.
All right, and on that note,
break time.
Trivia time.
Yeah, so we're introducing a new thing. Halfway through our episodes, we're gonna do trivia now. We're gonna most likely focus MN Pro Sports, right?
Yeah, we're just gonna try to do some fun crap. It splits you all guys up. I know. Yeah, take that off there. There we go. I know we get a little serious sometimes, and so we just want to break you guys up, do some fun stuff, make fun of each other, show you how crappy Bus's sports knowledge is.
Gross. I'll go first then.
Do it up. Let's get it.
Right. We're gonna at least for this one, we might change our format a little bit going forward, but it's probably similar format for how we will do this. But we will have 3 questions, and they will increase with difficulty. So one will be easy, one will be medium difficulty, one will be pretty hard. So
classic Bus making a fun section about the format. Nice.
Just give me your question, Spinny. Let's
You're
get
going
this rolling.
first, remember? Ask me. You're asking me first.
No,
buddy.
you're asking me because you just said my knowledge was terrible.
All right.
So I got to prove these guys wrong.
So here's my...
Oh, by the way, I already know that Spinny's questions here are going to be complete random, so forgive me if I get them wrong.
Here's my easy question. How many consecutive playoff losses for the Minnesota Twins currently?
18.
Correct.
Let's go! 1 for 1.
That was easy. He already knew that was going to be a question, so...
No, I didn't. That's a lie.
All right. Now I want my easy question now.
We're gonna alternate. Okay.
Oh well, duh.
What number did Randy Moss wear for the Vikings?
Sheesh, 84.
84, correct.
That was real. You went real easy with the easy.
It's supposed to be an easy question. You're supposed to get that one right.
All right. So,
what's my second one?
This is a 2-part question. Sorry. It's tough for Bus. I know.
The medium question
really
is
hard.
2-part.
Oh,
Nice.
yeah.
Listen to this kid over here.
That's what we like. All right. What is the Minnesota Vikings franchise career record in NFC Championship games?
This is a medium question, by the way.
Yes, it is.
Oh my gosh, this is what I'm saying.
I'm gonna give you little parameters. They have been to 10 NFC Championship games in franchise history.
Okay, so 4 and 6.
Correct.
It's 4 and 6. I know they've been to 4 Super Bowls. Thankfully, he gave me the 10 games, so I was able to get it.
Gave him a little.
That was only part 1, though?
That was only part 1.
Okay.
Part 2 is what was the year of the last NFC Championship games of Vikings won?
It's in the 70s. 1977. Final answer.
1976.
No!
Yes.
I get a half point there.
You can have a half point.
Even though Spinny's giving me hard questions for the medium difficulty.
Come on, I gave you process of
Nice.
elimination on the first part. Come on.
Even though to me, this question is not hard at all, but I don't know Spinny's Timberwolves knowledge here. But what year were the Minnesota Timberwolves founded?
19. I'm gonna get it within one. I'm gonna be off by 1 year, I think.
I mean, I was off by 1 year with the Vikings thing, and that was well before my lifetime.
We're gonna go 1995.
Incorrect. 1989.
Really?
Yes.
The Wolves are that old?
The Wolves are that old, indeed. We're literally that depressing of a franchise.
Sheesh. Okay.
That we have done absolutely nothing.
Whew, I missed that one by a lot. Sheesh.
Okay. Hard one.
All right, hard one.
That means I'm up right now, by the way.
Yeah, it does. It does. Timberwolves franchise playoff record. Wins and losses.
I mean, you should give me the number of games for this one too.
Yeah, I can give you a number of games. That can be fair. We got 52 games.
Okay, 52 games.
Also, 52 playoff games since 1989 in the NBA.
That's pretty depressing, I must say. Because if you went, obviously this I don't think it's ever even happened, but if you went all 7 games, all 4 series, and won the NBA Finals, that's 28 games. That's so in 1 year you could theoretically play half the games the Wolves have in 30 years.
Yep.
Say it again though. Sorry.
Career playoff record for the Wolves: 52 games.
52 games.
Gotta make sure I got this right.
52 games, right?
Yep.
They are 11-41. No. I'm changing a little bit. I'm going 14-37.
Not awful.
Wait. That's not even right math. 14-38.
Yeah, there you go.
There we go. 14-38.
Not a horrible guess. We are at 18-34.
Okay.
Career playoff
because
record for the Wolves.
I knew we got 18.
18.
Oh, that is so depressing. Half of those wins came in 1 year.
Yeah.
When in 2003, when we went to the Western Conference Finals, obviously to win 2 series, that's
8.
4, which is 8, and then we
won 2 games.
gentlemen swept by. Oh, was it 2?
We might have.
I thought it was gentlemen swept by the Lakers.
Could have been 1. I think you're right.
But yeah, that was a tough question. Wow, I was pretty close.
Yeah, you were. But yeah, half our playoff games in 1 playoffs, which means other than that, we've won 9 playoff games since 1989. Woo! Good shape franchise for y'all.
Wow, that's just if that's just Minnesota sports to a T right there. That just shows how depressing we are. Also, dating back to Spinny's second question, how many or whatever the record was for Vikings and NFC championships, that is a depressing question to think about too, because the last one we won was in the 70s. We haven't won an NFC championship since 1976.
0-6 since 1976 in NFC championships.
Nice. Nice Vikings, nice Timberwolves, and as we know, the
18
Twins,
straight playoff losses.
18 straight playoff losses, which, by the way, if you didn't know, is the longest out of all 4 major sports. So, nice Minnesota sports. All right, your last one.
So that was my theme, by the way, if you didn't catch that, was
choking.
The choking of Minnesota sports.
Yeah, that was Spinny's thing. Mine is just general. Spinny's hard question here. The Twins, Minnesota Twins, they relocated to Minnesota in 1961. What were they named before they were relocated?
The Montreal Expos.
Close, incorrect.
Ooh, is Montreal though?
Not close, really, but I get where you're going there.
Hold on.
It is not a Canadian team.
Ooh, really?
No.
Oh.
My dad is screaming at you right now for this podcast.
Oh. It's the Expos, though.
Close. That's not quite right.
Give
me a final answer. Come on.
Read me the question again.
I literally let you slide on 2 answers.
Read me the question again.
Twins. What was their name before they relocated in 1961? So 1960, they were in where? Named what? 1961, they became the Minnesota Twins. You were close. Your Expos was the closest one. Closest guess.
Man.
5, 4, 3.
Montreal Expos was my guess.
Okay.
That was my
Washington Senators.
That did come in my head, honestly, but
Trivia winner, me.
Makes it always a competition. We're just trying to have fun. Jeez.
Yeah.
Trying to enlighten y'all about the shittiness of Minnesota sports.
You know what it is? Classic Fetty bus winning on this pod yet again. Spinny. L after L for you on this pod. That's all I can say. All right, let's jump to the next topic, huh?
All right, I suppose.
Back on to the episode. That was a fun little break. It's always good to beat Spinny in trivia. Trades. Our next talk here. Given that,
We deserve that.
I guess so. Given that James Harden was traded for Ben Simmons, that was a crazy trade. I kind of like blew our mind. We obviously were expecting something, but it's still crazy to think about. That got us into thinking about the craziest trades in sports in the last 10 years. So that's our next segment. Maybe not necessarily society-wide, but in our own eyes, trades that just shocked us. When it happened, we were like, holy cow. Like, this is insane. Okay. Spinny, give me one.
I guess I'm going to start at the top. My number one thought when I think about this is Paul George. Paul George going with Kawhi to the Clippers from Oklahoma City. Because that was a little bit of a personal one. I think I was out for a night of some fun festivities and came home and was having a glass of water in my kitchen. And I was just scrolling on Twitter, screwing around, and I got the update like 30 seconds later. And I just called Bus. And I remember you were up for that, probably a very similar reason at that point. And we just like freaked the heck out for like 10 minutes about like, because there was
Kawhi and PG on the Clippers.
There was no lead up. Like it was like Kawhi to the Lakers, Kawhi. Like there wasn't even a Kawhi to the Clippers that much.
Yeah.
A little bit. But then it was like PG's name was never in any of it. It was like if Kawhi's going to the Clippers, PG was never the other name, ever once.
All of a sudden they give up their entire future to get PG, pretty much.
I can't believe they gave up Shy in that trade either.
The trade, for those that don't know or remember, Paul George, straight up for Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Danilo Gallinari, 3, not 1, but 3 unprotected firsts, a first swap, as well as a protected first. So in total, 5 first-round picks, and Shai Gilgeous.
Shai Gilgeous! This man's going to be a top
going back
5-10 point guard in the league.
Going back, that's an L.
Blockbuster.
That's an L for the Clippers.
Meh.
That is an L for the Clippers.
TBDL.
It is an L for the Clippers. I'm already knowing.
If Kawhi comes back and they win a championship, it's an L for the Clippers?
They have done nothing. And
that's what I mean. It's an L TBD.
They have done nothing to this point.
They're both in the team still.
100% will not win an NBA championship. They're not better than the Sixers. They're not better than the Bucks. They're not better than these teams. They're not better than the Suns, Warriors. It's tough.
They're as good as those teams with Paul George and Kawhi healthy. Yes, they are.
Okay, so tell me why they had both those guys healthy and essentially got bounced by Luka. Explain that? You can't. They're not good. Well, they are good, but
that was 2 years ago. How about last year when they were looking good until everyone got hurt?
Their Clippers are no.
Okay.
That did remind me of the first PG trade that shocked me way back in the day. Sabonis and Oladipo for PG. That was a crazy trade to me. I was just like, whoa. Like, they're just – because to me, like, Oladipo was still, like, something back then.
Yeah,
like,
it was.
Like, people were still, like, valuing him and considering him a valuable part of your roster. And Sabonis was, like, young and up-and-comer. Everyone knew that he was probably going to be a solid big man in the league. And so, yeah, that one just really shocked me. And then, obviously, it also kind of excited me a little bit to see what Russ and Paul George were going to do. Obviously, they ended up not doing anything on Thunder. But still, it was a crazy trade to me at that time. And then, obviously, a year or two later, we get to Paul George for Shai and 5 firsts. So, yeah, that was another one that stood out to me. I would also say Dwight Howard way back when. Dwight Howard to the Lakers. That happened in 2012, so exactly 10 years ago. That just absolutely blew my mind at that time. Dwight had just been coming off 3 straight DPOYs, and to be traded to a team that had Kobe Bryant on their team, at that time, I was like, wow, Lakers, Kobe just recently won 2 rings. He's about to win even more because they just got the best big man defender in the league.
They got Steve Nash that same year, too.
Yeah, obviously that didn't work out whatsoever. Obviously, that didn't work out. But at that time, that was a trade that just blew my mind, and I was like, man, Lakers maybe are going to be the real deal here.
I'm gonna throw a little curveball in a trade that didn't happen. One of the big craziest. I remember complaining about this in school with my friends.
I still complain about it.
Yes, and that was the CP3 trade getting rejected from the Hornets to the Lakers. I don't remember what year this trade was in. I kind of messed that up. It might even be before this time.
It's longer than 10 years ago, but we'll accept it.
Because that would have changed the whole course of. Then we got a prime of his career CP3 with Kobe instead of the Lob City Clippers, who turned out to basically do nothing. So we might have got Kobe another championship. There was a lot of potential there in LA, and I think they kind of messed that up. And then he went to the Clippers anyway. So I don't know. I thought that was BS. I thought David Stern was an idiot for that. But
definitely BS. In today's NBA, that trade would definitely be allowed. So
also though, I do have to give credit on that change to Adam Silver, GOAT commissioner right now.
Adam Silver is the best commissioner out there, no doubt about it.
So he kind of changed that David Stern poo-pooing stuff style to being a little more free-flowing and having fun. The NBA is the best league for the players, is the most fun. They don't do
which is how it should be.
Crap like the NFL, to like the taunting penalty crap. They never do anything like that. Most player empowerment. Players mean the most. That is the one thing you have to give the NBA huge credit for. Huge.
No, I agree. That trade still stands out to me to this day. I still get mad about it because it's just ridiculous that they didn't allow that trade to go through. Ridiculous. I wasn't even a Lakers fan, honestly.
It's just freaking dumb.
Obviously, I'm a huge Bron guy. I would have at that time been actually really mad that one of LeBron's best friends going to team up with Kobe. Like, wow, those guys are going to win every NBA championship now, and LeBron's not going to get any. So yeah, I wouldn't even have liked it at the time, but I was still mad because like Chris Paul deserved to be traded there. Like, those two teams agreed on the trade. They should be allowed to make the trade. So
give me your next one. Let's get away from the NBA here. Give me something.
No, I'm gonna say one more NBA one. Actually, two more. But we'll make it brief. Kawhi and Danny Green for DeMar, Jakob Poeltl, and a first-round pick. That one blew my mind. I'm a huge DeMar guy, I didn't think the Raptors would move on from DeMar like that. They did my boy dirty. And I definitely did not think they're going to make a move for Kawhi. Obviously, that deal worked out for them, but they got their ring. But still, that was a crazy trade in my eyes.
Man, that trade was so crappy for the Spurs. I know that at that point, Kawhi had already said he wasn't coming back, so they really had no choice in the matter.
They do still have Jakob Poeltl on their team. In fact, he's having a career year this year, averaging 14, 9, and 3. So 25-year-old center, those are good numbers. 14, 9, and 3.
Yeah, they are. I just think they could have done better, but who knows?
But what are you gonna do when a guy wants out? They got an all-star in return. They got a young center in return, and they got a first-round pick. I feel like that's a decent deal.
I just thought they were going to,
given the fact that they couldn't. Kawhi wanted out. It was obvious that he wanted out.
I just thought they were going to go younger with it. And DeMar's time in San Antonio was not good for him. I don't think so.
That was not good for him. That's why he's rejuvenated a little bit on the Bulls this year.
The other one higher on the MVP list.
Yeah, should be. The other trade, just because I want to talk a little bit Wolves here, that blew my mind was Kevin Love for Andrew Wiggins, Anthony Bennett, and Thaddeus Young. This one was just crazy at the time because obviously Love was our guy. He was our best player for a couple of years before that. And we traded for the Cavs, drafted Wiggins, and didn't even play him one game, and they gave up on him. They traded him immediately for K-Love because they wanted to win now, obviously, with LeBron. But that was just another one that stood out like, whoa, this is crazy that the Cavs are doing this. They just drafted this guy, and they're not even going to give him one game.
Yeah, and I mean, of course, the Wolves lost that. I mean, K-Love, number one, is still on the Cavs. Number two was pretty productive and important in their championship runs. And Wiggins isn't on the Wolves anymore.
This essentially turned into
D'Lo.
It essentially turned into K-Love for D'Lo.
Yeah,
this is essentially what happened there.
Yeah,
which is whatever, I guess. But yeah,
all right.
Are we jumping to the NFL trades now?
Yeah, I just want to mix it up. I feel like we're getting a little too.
Okay, actually, I'm throwing out an MLB one here.
Ooh.
2 MLB ones that were very recent.
Nice little baseball in the pod.
Both from the same team. Dodgers trading for Mookie a couple years ago.
That was crazy.
That was insane. And then this past year at the trade deadline, acquiring Max Scherzer and Trey Turner.
Yeah,
that was an insane deal. That just, I didn't even know what the heck just happened. I was so surprised, and I was like, wow, that just locks up the freaking Dodgers winning another World Series. But they didn't. Choke Nation.
You know, sorry, y'all. You don't trade Mookie Betts. You don't trade a top 3 player in the league that you're in. That's trading Brady, Mahomes, or Rodgers in the NFL. That's trading LeBron, the LeBron type player in the NBA. Like you don't do that. That's you never do that. Ever, never. And they just trade Mookie Betts.
Yeah, he was on a large market team, the Red Sox. You know, you would think a team like that would be smart enough not to do that, but apparently not.
Apparently not.
That one, but yeah, I just wanted to quickly throw that one in there because that was like those were like the most ridiculous MLB trades in my eyes in the last couple of years. I did also write down the Verlander one to Astros back in the day because obviously that helped them win a ring. Whether obviously it's tainted, but still,
we hate the Astros on this pod.
Yeah,
and
we're gonna hate the
Astros.
If you don't hate the Astros, wow, disrespect.
Yeah, literally.
All right,
all
MLB though. All right, NFL trade though. One that made me livid, and all Vikings fans livid. Khalil Mack to the Bears. That one, I didn't think at the time was like too like, it didn't like really put the league on notice or anything like super crazy, but for sure all NFC North fans had a huge reaction to that one because wow, now we're adding freaking all-pro lineman Khalil Mack to the Bears. Nice.
Yep, that was just fun having him rip roaring through the NFC North for a while. But I'm gonna throw on an NFL one that again I'm gonna have a little Minnesota bias. It might not be a league-wide thing, but it was probably the most memorable Vikings trade we've ever had, and that was Stephon Diggs for the first round pick that turned into Justin Jefferson. That was a cool trade. Obviously, it worked out for Buffalo. Man's been hooping with Josh Allen, doing his thing out there. Much love to Stephon Diggs. He's a baller. Top 5 receiver in the league.
That turned out to be one of the more even trades, I would say, in sports memory across the 3 major sports in these last couple of years, for sure. Just because the fact, like you said, that pick turned into Jefferson, who, in my eyes, is better than Diggs.
Yeah.
It obviously worked out for the Bills, too. So, yeah, that was a good trade for both teams.
Yeah, I think the Vikings got the slight edge because Jay Jet's about to be a top.
Jay Jet's is a dog.
Most receiving yards the last 2 seasons, and those are his rookie and sophomore seasons. So
we're talking wide receivers. I'm going to throw out another definitely league-wide hype from this trade. Texans shipping out DeAndre Hopkins for essentially David Johnson.
David Johnson in a second-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. Can we just start the roast of Bill O'Brien? What is Bill O'Brien doing? Oh, look at what other receivers have gone for on the open market, like Diggs and
Amari Cooper.
They
got a first-round pick for him.
You can't get a first-round pick for DeAndre Hopkins. Are you kidding me? Yeah. Shout out to the AZGM.
I mean, that's a no-brainer deal for the whoever the hell the AZGM was at that time. He might still be even. Well, honestly, he better still have his job if he made that deal.
I think it's the same guy they got right now with Cliff.
Okay.
But that was crazy. That's a roast. There's a reason Bill O'Brien doesn't have a head coaching job in the league right now. So,
and one last NFL one that definitely worked out for them was Jalen Ramsey to the Rams for 2 firsts. Yeah, obviously 2 firsts. That's good. That's pretty solid value for the Jags getting in return, but that obviously helped. He's the best cornerback in the league. They just won the Super Bowl, so yeah, that helped.
Ooh, I got an NFL for you to question. Actually, what do you think about the Jamal Adams for 2 firsts to Seattle? Worth it? Not worth it.
I did see that on some articles that I was looking up when I was trying to find some crazy deals. That was a major L for Seattle.
You think so?
Yes.
I think so too. I think they gave up too much.
They gave up too much. Jamal Adams, great player, but he's overrated. He's not even like, I don't know. He's probably top 5, I would say, for sure at his position, but he's not worth 2 first in my eyes.
Yeah, it's hard in the NFL because I don't think the safety position is really a game-changing position as much. Where you can really do a lot. You have to be super special, to really change that. I think that has shown on watching Vikings games ever. Because shout out to Harrison Smith, top 5 safety in the league that never gets enough credit. Look at the stats.
Harrison is a dog.
Troy Polamalu, Harrison Smith. Look at the stat comparison. That's all I gotta say.
Facts.
All right, so cool trades. That was a fun segment. That was brought back some cool memories. It's fun, all the shipping around we get done. It's one of my favorite parts of sports, honestly.
And like Spinny said with his very first trade, he talked about a lot of these deals. We instantly called each other just because.
Yeah, we did.
That's just a thing we do when crazy sports stuff happens, like trades and free agent signings, things like that. We just call each other and bullshit about it. That's essentially one of the reasons why we created this podcast.
Yeah, we might even include you guys sometimes. Maybe get a little live stream or two going on if something crazy happens. You can join in and listen to our crap while we discuss it. Did we talk about the Kyrie Celtics trade?
No.
Did I bring that up? That was another crazy one where a guy asking to leave playing with LeBron, that doesn't happen. And he was going to my second favorite team in the NBA. I thought it was going to be Kyrie, Brown, and Tatum. That's championship caliber, I thought at the time, but Kyrie
and they still had Gordon Hayward.
Gordon Hayward injury happens. That kind of changes the whole dynamic of his playing career, how good he is. Kyrie proves he's really not a leader too much, not really that guy, and it all breaks down.
And then he wants out shortly later.
Then he wants out. They end up bringing in Kemba Walker. That fails, and the Celtics haven't got a point guard since. So
that essentially turned out to be a major irrelevant trade for both teams, just because of the fact that Cavs got rid of like every player they acquired for him essentially right away, and then.
Who was the pick? Who'd they take with the pick?
I don't even.
Colin Sexton.
Was it Sexton?
Yeah.
Okay, that's the one good thing that came out of it.
I think
the one good thing that came out of that deal is that Cavs ended up getting Colin Sexton. Obviously, Celtics have nothing to show for that trade today, and other than Sexton, the Cavs don't either. So that was a pretty irrelevant deal in my eyes. Well, a couple years down the road, it's irrelevant. Is what I'm trying to get at.
Yeah, it's kind of that one was crazy. That was another one where I called you and we freaked out about that for a while, and I rubbed it in your face because your boy Kyrie just left LeBron because
he's not my boy, but
he was then. He was your boy then.
He wasn't my boy, but he left my actual boy LeBron.
Yeah,
Goat James.
Okay, Shannon Sharp. Sheesh.
All right, let's jump to the last topic.
All right, so. We got another MLB special coming on. We figured, well, as we told you guys, we kind of tried to postpone this podcast so we would have more to discuss about how awful and crappy the owners and Rob Manfred are. Gosh, that guy's awful. But we still don't have a decision, so we're just gonna kind of talk about a little bit of how the negotiations are going.
As of 11:54, that is the live time. There still has not been an agreement. They haven't reached an agreement. Still, deadline is today at 4 p.m.
Yeah, deadline was moved back from last night, postponed. But let's just get into a couple of the nuts and bolts things that we're talking about and the differences.
Yeah, so the main reason, the thing Spinny is about to list off here are the main reasons why agreement hasn't been met. These are the key pieces that they have not reached an agreement on.
Before that, one of the things that they have been talking about that they did agree on was the playoffs. That was a big discussion up until this point that there was no budging on from both sides. But it sounds like we've got a deal on a 12-team expanded playoff. So that'll be dope. I like the idea of a 12-team MLB playoff. Gives you the top records advancing, and I just like the 16 playoff as opposed to 4 or 5. Plus, you got to get more MLB teams in the playoffs. The regular season's so boring. I just gives me some more cool teams in the playoffs.
Okay, but how does that even work? 6.
It's the same as the NFL. 2 buys.
2 buys.
I think that's how they're.
That's
doing
gonna how they would have to do it, right?
Yeah, it's either that or there's 2 wild card games.
Because no buys, that obviously wouldn't work.
Yeah, you get 2 buys. Top 2 teams get buys. Yeah, there might be a different. That I don't think was settled yet either. The exact makeup of what it is, but it's going to be a 12-team expanded either way.
Hopefully, what they need to do is what you said: 1 and 2 seeds get the bye, but then finally get the wild card teams playing these 3 and 4 seeds, because we have wild card teams immediately playing the 1 seed. I like having, so they're going to still keep 2 wild card, I would imagine.
Yeah,
and then have those 2 wild card. How are they going to do that?
Well,
they would split them up, obviously. One would
Yeah.
play the 3, one play the 4. Winner of those series would play the 1 and 2.
Yeah, I think a lot of that is still up for discussion, exactly how that's going to work. I know the MLB has some weird playoff ideas, but a 16 playoffs or 12-team playoffs, so that's pretty cool. I like that.
I do like that.
So now the things that they're off on. I'm going to let Bus explain to you what CBT is.
It's essentially the NBA's version of luxury tax. So essentially, their CBT. I'm drawing a blank on the 3 words that come up. I can't even remember off the top of my head. Drawing a blank. Anyway, CBT, essentially luxury tax. So there's a limit that's set. They exceed that limit, they're going to have to pay an extra $1 for every $1 they spend. Similar to the NBA. That's how the NBA luxury tax system works as well. So they are the players want it higher and the owners want it lower. So now
competitive balance tax.
Competitive balance tax. That's what it is. What did the owners have it? 220, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So the proposed CBT was 220 mil. Last year it was at 210 mil. The players wanted at 230 mil. So semi close there. I don't truly have a full grasp and understanding of what it is. So I don't truly understand why the players want more on that when it comes to this. But again, I'm gonna just go back to Spinny's point that the owners are just completely selfish. They're just trying to make as much money as possible. It's the only reason why this isn't happening. So I'm gonna side with the players on everything. Even if I'm not fully understanding the concept, I'm gonna side with the players.
So why do we say that, right? Why are we so anti-owner pro player? Here's the reason. Player pay has went down on average over the last 5 years in the MLB. Okay, so players are making less money. The average increase of an MLB franchise over the last 5 years is $300 million. Okay, $300 million.
They have the money.
They are making more money. They're making way more money, and they want to hoard it. Yeah. And okay, I'm gonna get old business major argument. Wow, it's different between assets and actually having the cash. Yeah, you're right, it is. But these MLB teams have giant TV deals, right? Owners get most of all of that. Okay, they take that money, they turn it back to paying the players, and then when their franchise goes up, they're basically essentially getting that increase in wealth for free. Okay?
Not to
pass it on down, boys. That's what we're trying to get here. So when you're the ones making all the money, and players are asking for some fairly small concessions to get the money they deserve because they are the product.
They are the product.
They are the product. That's what it comes down to here in the end. So those are a couple of the big reasons why we're pro player. We're not just pro player for the heck of it.
And I can't give you any specific owners off the top of my head. Honestly, don't even for sure know if this happened in MLB, but it's happening across major sports that there are owners who even pay themselves a salary for being an owner. You shouldn't get any money of the teams. You're the owner. You're obviously going to get income. You deserve to. I'm not saying you don't deserve to make zero money, But to add a salary on top of that, that is ridiculous to me. So, yeah, it's clear the owners are just doing little things like that, just try to make themselves individually, not their organization, as much money as possible.
And when we're talking about this CBT thing too, there's some tax percentage differences too. Whereas when you're overspending, the amount you overspend determines the tax amount.
Yeah.
So if you overspend a certain amount, it's like 12%, then it goes up to 30, and then it goes up to 60. And so these numbers are being negotiated too. And like we said, we don't fully understand exactly how this crap is working. We're giving you our rough explanation.
Yeah. Because it's basically just because the MLB contracts and that type of stuff is so weird and complicated, especially compared to the other sports. So yeah, we have just never truly comprehended and understood that type of stuff in the MLB. But yeah, it's a little ridiculous to me that they can't get an agreement. Like the owners need to just give the players what they want because, as Spinny said, as is the case for all sports, the players are the product. Tell me they're also beefing about the minimum salary that a player should get. What is that? What are those numbers?
So players want $775,000, and the latest owner offer was $675,000. So we're still about $100,000 off from the numbers we gathered on a minimum salary difference. This is another thing to me when you're talking about 40-man roster that essentially these owners are paying $100,000. And if you go up 75 here, let's say the players settle down a little bit, they go 750. We go 750 minimum. That $75,000 increase per minimum players. How many minimum players you got? Maybe 10 on a 40-man roster. That's maybe going on the high end. Okay, we're talking about 10 players, $75,000 difference, $750,000. We're not talking about that much money. And I know I just made that, scenario up in my head, but when we're talking about owner standards and franchises that are worth billions of dollars.
They're not even losing any money in that situation.
This is something that we're stuck on that I don't see why it's a big deal.
That's what I'm saying. I don't see why the players can't just agree, or the owners can't just agree with the players, because they're not, in my eyes, at least for the minimum salary, they're not even asking for that much. $775,000 is not that much for a minimum player. And like Spinny said, you don't even have a lot of those guys on your roster anyways.
Literally.
So they just say they bump it all the way up to 775, 100,000 more. What's the difference? Say you got 3 guys, that's only $300,000 more that you're losing. And in the grand scheme of things, these businesses, as Spinny said, are multi-billion dollars. That's a penny to them. So yeah, obviously, in our eyes, 100,000, I would kill for $100,000.
Oh yeah, $100,000 would change our life.
Yeah, let alone $775,000. But I'm also not a professional athlete. I'm also not the product on the field. The reason why everybody is watching.
And we're also not giving up our bodies in that way to our job. Like
potentially injuring yourself for like literally the rest of your life.
And I don't spend all the dedicated hours they do to something that produces so much money. That's the thing. When your product produces money, as the maker of that product, you deserve some of the money. So that's where we're at. Okay.
Another player issue here. The last main thing they can't agree on
is this pre-arbitration bonus, which that is also the biggest difference we're on. Players are asking for roughly $100 million, and the latest owner offer was 25. So what's pre-arbitration bonus, Bus?
So what this is talking about, arbitration is just a fancy word for talking about the players that don't reach an agreement on a contract. So if you are not eligible, like I said, contract situations are really weird in the MLB. I think it's like you're under team control for like 6 years or something weird.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's really weird. But if you can't agree on a contract price with your team, you get put into arbitration. So essentially this pre-arbitration bonus is just money that would be given to these players that aren't able to play or make money because they haven't reached an agreement, which I think is a great step, because as is the case with most of these things, they haven't just reached agreement because the owners are being greedy, pretty much. So the players deserve this money in my eyes. And like Spinny said, owners are only willing to give 25 million in this bonus, and I don't know. That's just too little to me. I don't know. Maybe 100 mil that the players want is maybe too much. I don't really know what these values truly mean. But to me, I feel like 25 is absolutely disrespectful offer by the owners in my eyes, because of this money, this bonus money would go to the top 30 players that are in arbitration based on like awards, MVPs, if any of them have an MVP, Cy Young, things like that. That's how they'll rank these players in arbitration. But still, so this money is just split up amongst a lot of players. I feel like they can definitely increase from 25 mil. That's just disrespectful.
Agreed. Yeah. Just to sum this up, we went through basically those three main points that they're negotiating on right now. Of course, there's a million more. It's super complicated,
super
lawyers,
complex,
insane.
Yeah.
We just wanted to give you a brief of what we're saying, and mostly that the MLB needs to figure it out. The MLB owners need to figure it out. Rob Manfred's the worst commissioner. He needs to figure his game out, modernize it, make it fun. Baseball used to be America's game. Baseball's boring as hell now. Sorry, but it's just what it is. So figure out your game. Let's fix it up, and we'll get her done.
And as of noon on February
did we
March,
get it?
As of noon on March 1st, still no agreement. So
okay. I thought you were breaking news on here for me.
It's tough. I wish we could break news. That would be nice. I think we can wrap it up, huh?
Yeah.
Wrap up the show.
Before we wrap up the show, we've got a fun little thing for you here. I know we put out a Twitter question this week where we wanted you to DM us some questions, and we got some good ones.
Yeah, so we are looking to do this every episode. Just at the end of the episode, answer one or two of your guys' questions in the DM. So continue every week. Just send us DMs about sports questions. We prefer current sports related news questions, but we will take anything sports related. So
yep.
Yeah. So let's just dive in. Our good friend Aaron Boisman, shout out Aaron. He gave us some good questions. We're going to discuss two of these that Aaron sent us.
One more thing, sorry. If you don't have Twitter, feel free to DM us on any of our social medias. We'll check those. If you know us personally and want to reach out to us, you can text it, email it, whatever, to either of us. However you want to connect with us. We've got a hard-headed email also. You can comment on our YouTube channel. There's a million ways to reach us. Yeah, if you want to give us some questions to answer, we'll shout you out if you want. If you don't, we can not say your name either. So just let us know, get in contact with us, and we'll go from there. All right, let's get it.
First question here. I know he asked this because Aaron is a huge Packer fan, huge cheesehead, gross to us, obviously Vikings fans. But what realistic team would Rodgers have the best chance to win it all next year? Spinny, what's your answer to that question?
Realistic team?
What realistic? So, because you're not going to say, replace Ryan Tannehill with Aaron Rodgers. That's not going to happen. That's not realistic. So, Bronco, what teams that need a quarterback, which one could he win a ring on?
Pittsburgh. First one.
You would say that's the most realistic?
I don't know about most realistic, but I think Pittsburgh's realistic in that they have the capital to trade for him.
I agree.
And I think that how do you win championships in the NFL? Okay, so let's look at the Patriots model, right? That's probably the most successful in current NFL structured model of how to win. We got really good quarterback, okay, Aaron Rodgers. We got young, dependable receivers who have upside, okay? Even better than New England. And we have a defensive head coach, stable, one of the best head coaches in the league. And we have an unbelievable defense. Fantastic defense.
More specifically,
top 5 defense.
More specifically, pass rush.
Yeah. TJ Watt, one of the top 2 pass rushers in the league. Him and Aaron Donald, best in the league. When you pair a quarterback, Aaron Rodgers is good enough to make people better. Guys like Juju, if he stays, Chase Claypool, Deontay Johnson. Those are good young receivers. He will make them better. guaranteed. Pat Fryermuth. Okay, they got a good young running back, Najee Harris. Looks like he can be a bell cow in the league, and their defense is good. That's how you win championships in the league. If Aaron Rodgers could have got some stops, if his defense could consistently have got stops throughout his career, he'd have much more championships now. I think that is the most realistic, best shot of him winning a championship, because I don't think he wins a championship in Denver. I think the division's too tough. I
don't think they're good enough either.
I don't know if they're good enough.
He wouldn't have a good enough supporting cast. In my eyes.
The only thing I would say about going to Pittsburgh is the AFC is still really tough. I think if I'm Rodgers, I want to stay in the NFC, ideally. That's where I would like to stay. But I don't know if there's a team that can make the push for him. I mean, the Bucks, that's another one I think would be cool, but I don't know if that's going to happen. I don't know if that's realistic. But
yeah, to answer your question, Aaron, I would say, honestly, if I don't necessarily know if you mean realistic in terms of realistic to acquire or realistic to win it all, because in my eyes, the best chance Rodgers has to win it all, especially next year, would just be to return to the Packers.
Agreed.
That would be my answer in terms of getting traded and best chance to win. In that regard, I agree with Spinny. Steelers would be the best bet. Broncos, I don't think have a good enough supporting cast for them. And Steelers already set up for immediate success with the reasons he said. Good pass rush, would obviously have an elite quarterback, and then some other young guys that on offense that are good and skilled.
What other options we got? I think Miami's out now. Yeah, I don't know what other teams we're looking at trade-wise. The Raiders could be an option.
Raiders, I would say that would actually be a interesting option. I would put them ahead of the Broncos, I would say.
I don't know if they want to stick with Derek Carr. I think they're good with Derek Carr, but I don't know. We'll see.
But I also think, I know this definitely won't happen, but I also think if Rodgers on the Vikings.
Let's go. That's where we want him. We want Favre 2.0.
If we get Favre 2.0 and Rodgers on the Vikings, we could maybe win a Super Bowl. But
Rodgers, Cook, and Jets. We like that.
Yeah. Okay. I like that.
Last question, and then we'll get you guys out of here.
Dark horse, given that we talked about college basketball again in this episode. His second question, who are some dark horse championship contenders this year in March Madness?
Okay, so dark horse. Dark horse
meaning probably not a 1 seed, probably not even probably not even a 2 seed. I don't know. I would say teams that aren't really discussed on your major news outlets.
What do you think? You got an option for me?
I'm giving some love to the SEC here. I would say Arkansas is a true dark horse contender. I would say. I'm going to also give some love because I really don't think they've said this a lot. I could be wrong, and I feel like these last couple losses might have dropped them a little bit, but I would also say Auburn. So obviously Auburn will still probably end up being a 2 or a 3 seed, but I would say Auburn is a true contender, actually. Could actually win it all, and I would definitely say Arkansas as well. Arkansas is more of a dark horse by definition. So if Aaron, you're looking for that answer, I would say Arkansas.
Yeah, I guess for me, real true dark horse, I think UConn. UConn's got some interesting players. I've watched them in the Nova games, watched them a couple other times. Good wins, good, interesting team. I think they could make a run. That's who I would say is like my true dark horse. And honestly, I'm going to say Purdue is my other one. I think a lot of people are sleeping on them. I know we've had some buzz early in the season, but now they're back to 8th. People are kind of getting harsh on them. So I think Purdue's maybe one that isn't a top 3-4 that people think that could be there. So a little bit of a cop-out dark horse and a regular dark horse there for me.
I do like that. Another like true dark horse by definition, I think would be, again, SEC love here would be Tennessee.
Mid.
You know that
I have no love for Tennessee. I think Tennessee's a first-round exit.
Okay. We'll see.
I'm going to stand corrected because everything I've came out and said on this pod, like that, I have been completely wrong about so far.
No, you could be right about that because Tennessee in these recent years has choked in tournaments, so you could 100% be right about that. But yeah, I would say Arkansas. Aaron, that is my answer is Arkansas. His answer is Purdue or UConn. So, listeners, viewers, keep an eye out for those teams in the March Madness. Filling out your brackets here in a couple weeks. Should probably put one of those teams, if not all three of them, making a little run in the tournament, I think. All right. Wow, that is it for episode
4. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to get you guys to laugh here at the end of the episode. But
yeah, we don't really have any announcements. The one major thing would be look for us on TikTok this week. We're creating a TikTok and that'll be out and released sometime this week. So look for that as well.
Yeah, laugh at our stuff. We've taken some of the funnier quick cuts out of this and made them up for you. So yeah, keep liking, keep subscribing, share with your friends. Yeah, just give us a listen and see what you think. We haven't got a ton of criticism, but I want some. So give us some constructive criticism. Comment, tell us to be funnier or more serious or joke less, joke more.
Whatever you want.
Tell me to roast bus. Give us some segment ideas. We want your input. We want to be better. That's where we're at here. So help us out with that. And roast bus for making fun of me when he's a fake fan. So have a good day.
That's all we got. Big Blue Nation, Kentucky represent. Episode 4. Hard-headed.